Hello, everybody. No, desktop view is not supposed to be up now. I wanted to do a fresh listen. Just so we could all remember where we were at last week. Welcome back, by the way, if you're back. We are live streaming around the world to Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube now. So if y'all are watching through that, what's up? Good to see ya. If you have any questions during this or anything, or you want to talk to me, I'm really only paying attention to Twitch chat, so I encourage you to head over to twitch.tv/BroccoliBoy. That's me. I'm the Broccoli Boy, aka Stephen James, aka the Little Broccoli. I hope y'all are doing well today. I'm doing okay. My beard's getting bushier. It's a plain white tea day because I'm a plain white guy. The hat's on because it's a bad hair day. Cats be coming in and out. They're going to be making an appearance. No doubt. Got my water. Got my coffee. And let's get this stuff done today, huh? So the main purpose of this stream is not so much as like a tutorial per se. Like, I'm not coming out here saying like this is the way to do it, this is the best way to do it. I mean, I've spent a lot of time kind of second guessing myself, so I would never be that guy. But this is more so an accountability mechanism because I have a really hard time being internally motivated to get stuff done. So usually to get things done, hello cats, I have to have people over, and that can sometimes be a distraction. So I figured, why not just talk to you, the internet? What could go wrong there? Alright. So this track that we're working on, if anybody doesn't remember, is IDKWTCT, and that stands for IDK what to call this. There's got to be a better title coming. Maybe you guys can crowdsource one. That'd be cool. So if you were listening in the beginning, we played through it, and it sounded pretty good. It's always good to come back with fresh ears and pick out stuff that hits a little bit different on a return trip. And so the first thing I noticed listening through this was that kick click thing is a little aggressive, a little hot in the mix. And we're still mixing in mono, by the way. The timing needs to be just fixed just ever so slightly. That click is just hitting a little too sharp. You just gotta decrease that transient noise a little bit. It's just piercing through the mix a little too much. And we also took the high end out of the kick, so it's just more of a kind of a sub presence. So, if I remember correctly, the last thing we did... Wow, I'm pretty freaking loud. Okay. How's that? How are my volumes, people? Do you need more of the song and less of me, or are we good? So if I remember last time, the last thing we really did before Will showed up and things went off the rails, uh, was we started adding a bit of reverb to stuff. And that's why we're getting that. Oh yeah, we used a combination of the. We kind of created like a slapback delay with this echo plugin right here. Oh, you guys can't see my mouse? You can't see my mouse? I gotta fix that. Capture cursor, please. There I am. Cool. Maybe next time I'll make it a little bit bigger for y'all. Let me know if that's a good idea or if this is fine. So yeah, as I was saying about the tutorial thing, look, this is gonna be I'm new to this, so my thought process is gonna kind of be all over the place. But this isn't supposed to be like a tutorial. It's more like it's me working, and I'm gonna just kind of talk through what I'm doing for anybody that's curious for the edification. You are free to ask me any questions. Just you gotta come do it on twitch.tv/broccoliboy. And yeah, we'll just hang out. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna listen to this song about 50 million times again today. So hope you all like it. Yeah. Anyways, so the last thing we did was we added some reverb. So it's still in mono, believe it or not, but we still got we got some space going on now, if you can hear it. Like let's A/B it without the reverb on right now. See how it kind of just went from 3D to 2D a little bit? Does that make sense? Like, can you hear it? Because now we got space, right? And now it's just kind of flat. And we're talking mostly about like 3D space, like kind of like front to back. Because there's like kind of the working theory that like you want to stack your instrumentation in like kind of 3 axes. It's kind of a new theory to me, but you kind of think of it in like 3 axes. You got like closest to the listener and farthest away, and then you've got, and that's kind of based on how much pre-delay you put in front of a reverb. And pre-delay is essentially, it delays the signal, because if you think about it, like in a room, reverb comes from stuff reverberating or like bouncing off the walls and just like coming back and bouncing back to your ears. So pre-delay simulates a wall that's farther away. So like in this room, the pre-delay is pretty short. You get like the slapback pretty close. Plus I've done stuff to sort of try to eliminate reverberations, but it's still not 100% because I've got the ceiling bare and this room is literally shaped like a box. So the pre-delay at a longer setting would simulate like a hallway. So like it'd take longer for the sound to travel to the end of the hallway and then bounce back into your ear. So that's kind of how you use the reverb to kind of trick where things are in 3D space. And we haven't really gotten to that part. We've just kind of sort of added reverb to some elements as sort of a creative choice right now. But that's something you want to consider when you're using delay and reverb. It's I haven't come up with like the best workflow for it yet. Some people like to use what I usually do is I use one reverb channel on a send, which is just an independent channel that you can send signal to from individual tracks while still maintaining the integrity of the original track. So it just it like splits it off so that you still got your pure unmanipulated sound as you have it on the actual channel strip, and then you have it sending to like a separate channel simultaneously that you can like put a reverb or different effects and stuff. And I kind of like to do it that way because to like simulate things being in the same space, I feel like it makes sense to mostly use like the same reverb to like varying degrees. Like sort of the wetter the reverb is, the more washed out it is, and the like further back it feels. And so that's kind of the method that I've been using, but I do think it's smart to use pre-delays in a strategic way before they hit the reverb to really simulate that space to get that front to back. I just haven't come up with a really good workflow for it yet, because other people, like the other way that people do it is they just use individual reverbs on every channel, and then you can usually manipulate the amount of dry wet per instrument on the channel, and you can always multiply that reverb. You can duplicate it onto any channel you want if you want things to have similar reverbs. But I think that takes up way more CPU, and up until I got this computer, CPU usage was a real problem for me because I was just using laptops, and they're not like the most ideal, obviously, but these days a cheap laptop could get the job done pretty good, but this was back in like 2016. Anyways, so yeah, I've kind of fallen into using the send method for reverbs and delays just because it helps save CPU, and oftentimes I want things to have a similar reverb or delay going on, unless I'm using them super creatively, which we will probably get a little we'll get a little crazy with delays in a minute here, I think. Because if you remember from last week, Jack had things going back and forth in the stereo field, which was really cool. It gave it a nice full sound, but it completely fell apart when we put it in mono, and that's going to be no bueno when people are playing it off of their mono like Bluetooth speakers or like their phones. It's just going to sound like poo-poo. So we want to still get that full effect, but also have it not fall apart when there's not a stereo option in playback. So there's a couple ways we can do that, but that's not our focus right now. We're still trying to make sure everything sounds good in mono, and we're just sort of starting to give things their space. I mentioned there's 3 planes, and we only really addressed one so far. So there's the back and forth plane. That's like what, Z in 3D math. And then like you can think of the x-axis as like your left, right, and that's the thing for like really filling the space, like Jack had before. And then there's sort of, you can think about the frequency spectrum in sort of an up-down, where like your instruments with higher frequencies are going to kind of be perceived as higher up, and then like the lower down you go, like your brain like infers a little bit in space that it's going to be like lower down on like the y-axis. So we keep all that in mind when we're mixing, and yeah. So we also had these other 2 percussion tracks turned off. It's really warm today, and I have to keep my window and door shut when I'm mixing because it eliminates the most amount of noise interference. So I'm going to be a toasty boy. So I think the first thing I want to do is actually get this, because that's a pretty pivotal moment. I want to make sure we have that right. It's like so close, but not quite there. And that might be perfectionism kicking in, but also it could be better. Now we gotta remember what we did to achieve this. So we gotta look at what we have automated. We want this. We usually like to drop down our automation into all the separate lanes for occasions like this when we come back to it and we're like, what's going on? We want to see everything that we've done. So maybe if we move this and decrease the curvature. Oh my god, where? Ableton, excuse me? Alright, that's something I've never seen before. The automation just broke. That's so weird. It's like writing it as we go. Do I have something enabled? I guess let's find out what happens. Oh. That's not what we want to see. Let's just go ahead and undo all that. Oh, it broke again. That's a weird one. Can't say I've ever seen that one before. It's interesting how these things come up once I start streaming, issues that never happened before. I'm going to go ahead and blame the new Windows update. It tends to break things like Ableton in ways that nobody could have ever foreseen. Do I like have to draw the, what the heck is going on, bro? Okay. Oh, I'm holding the wrong button. No, that alright. You know what? Here, it's a workaround, I guess. We'll just redo it. Yep. Just like that. Let's do something like this. Maybe this will be more the desired effect. Oh, this needs to be on. Okay. It just needs to be a little bit slower. Right, Jack? Alright, we're moving in the right direction. So if you remember, we're automating the frequency on this auto filter, this low pass filter right here. And I mean, I'm not gonna, I mean, if you want to know, ask, but I'm not gonna repeat something that I went over again before, because I'm a jerk. I think I'm good with that. Maybe. That's too fast. Maybe it should start a little bit sooner. I think that's all right. Now we do okay, so part of what gives that like that sweep noise is bumping the resonance on the cutoff frequency of the filter, and the resonance it just gives kind of like a boost to, like, you can see it here on the thing. We'll go where it's somewhere down here. So this is the resonance right here, this knob, and you can see it gives a little bump at the moment where we're cutting off. So if we wanted to get really fancy, this is a trick I've seen before, we automate the resonance as well. Any video editors out there are going to see a lot of parallels with automating keyframes, and it's a very similar process. So we'll start with like a lower resonance, and we'll have it increase as it's going down. Let's see what happens. Alright, we need a little more context. This needs to be also the same. Not a huge fan of what's happening with this, but you can tell, you can hear the difference. Doesn't move the needle enough for us to want to keep it. Subtle. We'll keep it subtle. Alright, just checking on everything else that we're streaming to. Looks like it's only the 5 of us. At the moment, anyway. Alright, so that's cool. We got that pretty much nailed down. Unless, Jack, you have a suggestion. But let's look at what... so, yeah, we had... I think the last good thing we did last week was we have this kind of washed out and reverb in the beginning, giving it kind of an ethereal feel, and then it goes away. So what happens if we give this a little bit of the old... Alright, I think all of these percussion elements are a little bit too loud and too dry. Let's listen to this kick for a second. It's kind of a sad wet boy right now. Let's see what we can do to help this. Oop. I think we give it a lot less high end. And in fact, we really don't want the kick going into the reverb at all, so we're gonna take that, we're gonna put this back in the reverb. Keep the kick out of it. I think using well. So generally you don't want to feed reverbs and stuff with too many sub frequencies because of the nature of reverbs. It's a lot of repetition of the same noise that creates the like sort of situation. And with low frequencies, that can really muddy up the mix like real quick. So in fact, we're gonna put all of our effects strictly on this upper part. And then we're going to do some treatment to this kick drum a little bit. I think this drum needs a bit of saturation. Now, we did use the lazy mode one button saturator on the sub bass already. So let's try something different on this kick. This is Ableton's stock saturator plugin. Let's see, what can I say about saturation? Saturation just kind of like the way a digital saturator kind of works is it messes with the actual frequency of what's being oscillated, like the waveform. It messes with it a little bit. So you can, and like in Ableton, this is sort of the shape of what is applied to each individual waveform. So this has a couple different options. It's got analog, so it's supposed to like simulate what like analog saturation is, because as a signal travels through different electrical components, nothing's built the same, so things have different effects. Like microphones are that, I mean, I've got like at least 5 different microphones, and that's not even a lot considering, because they all color the sound a certain way. So as it travels through a microphone, it gains a certain characteristic, and preamp, and then like an interface, and then it gets transmitted, and then like even like something like whatever translates it from an analog signal to a digital signal can also have a coloring effect on it. So, oh yeah, look at that. So saturation, the analog one, kind of tries to emulate like because people really fetishize like the good analog sound, which I totally get. Like I've used like nice preamps and nice microphones. I've been lucky enough to intern at a studio that had like quite the microphone closet, and I also worked at MSU for a while recording people in the music school, and they had a couple really nice mics as well as preamps. And so yeah, analog usually is like, yeah, good, great, perfect. We like that. So there's also, this one would apply a soft, like sine wave sort of distortion on top of the thing. This one the medium curve gets a bit more aggressive. Hard curve is super aggressive. Sinoid foil is kind of weird. I think probably the best way to demonstrate this is just to kind of go through them and see what it sounds like. So let's just do this. And I'm going to leave both the high part and the low part, because we kind of want to see how the saturation interacts. Because it's sort of, we're treating this as one cohesive instrument, and we're just kind of layering it. So we want them to gel like really well. And I just realized I walked through all the different modes not in screen share, so sorry about that, but we're going to go through them anyway. So this is the analog clip. To really get the coloring effect out of it, you want to turn the drive up a bit. Not like, I usually go in like 3 decibel increments. Like 3 kind of feels like the magic number when it comes to audio. And I mean, obviously it'll also boost the volume level. So this is analog saturation, and if I turn it off, see, I already kind of like this because this is giving like the thickness I was looking for a little bit. But let's go through the rest and see what happens. So this is kind of hard to tell, but this kind of gives it a little more mud. Like if we were to run it through a frequency analyzer, I would suppose that this has more going on in the like the 300 to 600 hertz range, and then the soft sine is kind of doing more for the sub frequency and staying out of that muddy range. Let's see if I'm right. Alright, so let's see. This is what we got with it off. And we're like, yuck, gross, we hate that. Don't want it. So this is with the analog saturation. See, we got it coming up right in like, okay, so it's a little lower than I said, like 100 to 500 range. We've got a nice peak around like 300-ish. But then let's try the soft sine. So it actually looks like this is adding more altogether, but for some reason it's giving a less muddy, thick saturation to it. Where we're kind of looking for that thickness, because the whole point of putting this kick drum in there was to sort of help thicken out the song a little bit. So let's see what the medium curve does. That's pretty aggressive. It's adding even more in the high mids. And we don't really like that. And now we really got some additions going on in the extra muddy range. So that's a little too aggressive as well. Now this seems very similar to just the sine, but if you look at the plugin down here, you see that it's actually like kind of a doubling of what's going on here. Now digital clip, and we don't really want it. It doesn't sound bad, but you got it's a light touch with effects like these, because you don't know, because we're not close to a final mix, and there's going to be more compression and stuff added, and things just sort of start to compound down the road. So you do want it to be a light touch with these things. And a wave shaper is you make your own custom waveform with how to affect it. We're not going to mess with that. I like the analog. Nice and thick. Gotta come up a bit. Alright, I like what that did. That was a good opportunity to save, and every time I leave a session and come back to it, I create a separate save in case in one session I just like fuck it up completely to the point where because that sometimes happens when you overmix something, or you overthink something, or you go too long and have ear fatigue and make not accurate adjustments. So there's like, by the end of a mix, there's usually like 6 or 7. Exactly what Kook Soda said. So we always want a starting point. So I usually do it like, it's just like the separate sessions, and however far I get in that session, that's the next version. So we have the original version. I'm going to call this mix I've gone through a lot of different numbering systems, so I'm gonna say we're gonna call this. I think because we didn't get super far the first time because we had to explain a lot of things. This will be mix 1. This will be the starting point of mix 1. And so we have the original project, which is just called IDK. Jack, come up with a better title, for God's sakes. And now we have that mix 1. So we can go back to the old one if we just do terrible things. And actually, what I'll probably do is, after we make some more major adjustments, I'll save this as like a mix 1.1, and then there'll be a 1.2, and then when there's like a big, I don't know, when I feel like it, it'll be like a mix 2. I don't know. The number system's arbitrary, but it's just to kind of cover my own ass. That being said, I have to pee. I'll be right back. And we're back. Hydration check, everybody. How's everybody doing? We liking this song? I like this song. I think it's like, it reminds me, it's like a combo of a Hot Sugar and a Beach House song, kind of. Glad you like the taking a break screen. Alright, now that let's get the rest of this percussion squared away. How about? Here's an idea. Let's solo our kick, our other thing, and our other thing, and our bass. So, a lot of the aggressiveness of these highs it'll help to have some verb on them. Oh no, that's the delay. It's like a whole different song with just the bass. That's a pretty bumping bass. Our reverb wasn't on. Duh. like to hear that, Jackie boy. Alright. Jack just informed me that there's a stereo effect on the bass that I didn't catch. Is it more subtle than the other ones, or is it pretty much the same thing, is the question. The waveforms look kind of uniform in the stereo writing of it. Oh, but they're not in phase, you can see. So there's a weird phasing effect going on that I just kind of went with because I thought it was cool. Oh, so you're talking like this area? But I mean, the fact remains that it is actually out of phase. So, oh, well, you probably have a phaser on it, though. So that's probably what's giving it that buzz. So, we'll see what comes out when we move on to stereo, because we're still in mono right now. But as of right now, I'm not too mad about any phase cancellation, because we do have that sub underneath reinforcing the bass frequencies. So we're just not going to touch that, and that's not purely out of laziness. It's only partially out of laziness. Oh my god, I was looking at the sub the whole time. Alright, let's look at the real bass. So the sub has some phase issues, and that's weird. But it also sounds okay. But let's find out if it could sound better if we give it the same treatment as the other stereo majiggies. Oh! There's a sub bass now. Oh! One of my favorite things about Ableton 10 that you weren't able to do in the older ones is you can put groups in groups, like nests in nests. Shout out to all my Premiere people. But it's great. You can get lost in it, but well, that's good that we figured that out early on. So that's our sub. That's our actual sub. So let's see. Oh yeah, that's kind of that thickness I was looking for. Cool. Okay. Well, that's a good fix. That's really helping out. Can you guys hear the sub? I don't know. You probably have to either have pretty good headphones or... Actually, no. I do want to know what you're watching on, and can you hear the sub? Tell me. Because I believe we also already saturated it a bit. Yeah. Which, to save CPU, we can take the saturation off of 1 and put this on the group. Oh, nope, wrong group. On this group, so that it just applies to both equally. Are those your headphones, Jack? Oh, what happened? It disappeared. Did you hear that? It like disappeared. The sub bass disappeared in that moment. Oh, is it because of the phase? The stereo thing? Let's see. Now what is going on here? Oh. Okay, Jack, was there... No, what happened is... Yeah, okay, so you had the stereo effect, and we saw that when the sub was out of phase over here. But then it locks into phase? That's out of phase, but it disappears, right? Like, that's good. There's the thump. Bo-do-do-do-do. And then it goes. So you must have applied the effect to both of your basses, because I think it snaps back into phase. So that's an easy enough fix. Yes. We just do this. We just swap the phase right here. Bam. And now that's real fat. No, we got around it, Jake. It's an easy fix. You just gotta swap the phase and easy. And honestly, the whole first part of mixing this would have taken a lot longer if it was still having phase issues, even if we swapped the phase, because then we'd have to take the waveforms and just move them around by the microsecond until they lined up. So at least, thank God, they were like out of phase enough that just like flipping it 180 degrees fixes it. So let's make sure this last part's in phase. Okay, we're good. We're good. Had to burp. Alright, let's see how much actually having a sub changes how we want to mix this. Mostly, is it too strong now? Too strong now. Ah! The answer is yes, it's too strong. But actually, what's too strong is this kick now. Why is this automated? Oh, I don't know. Where's my kick? Why is the track volume automated? I do not like that. Alright, I was just making sure we weren't peaking. We gotta be careful because we can't really use the master fader indicator in Ableton reliably because we have SonarWorks going on, and SonarWorks kind of will affect how the meter reads because it reads it post effects, and so that's why we put this meter plugin in front of SonarWorks, because that's more accurate from how things are going. And it's also pre-mono, so it's also giving us a good idea of where we're sitting stereo-wise in terms of levels, and everything's looking okay. So yay! I think it's starting to sound pretty good, even in mono, honestly. What do you guys think? Now we go back to that transition because I'm still not happy with it. It's something here. Something here is happening too quickly. What is this? Utility gain. Maybe it's this. Maybe this needs to be a little gentler. This goes at the same rate. it's a timing thing more than anything. So like, we're gonna come back to this because this is gonna be like a. We want to have everything in the mix finished before we really mess with that more. I think. Because it's like a wide sweeping effect, and what I'm ultimately thinking about doing is just cutting everything after that point and just scooching it ever so slightly further in time, just so we get a bigger like breath, and then it comes in, and I think that will yield a cool effect. You know what? Maybe not. Maybe. Like, I'm sorry, guys, but I'm a perfectionist, and we're gonna get this right. What if we did this? I think this might be the answer. I could be crazy. I mean, I got so many songs that need to be finished. Like, there's songs that need to be mixed. There's songs that need stuff added to them. I have been toying with the idea of doing a completely separate day of streaming and streaming 3 days a week and doing like DJing on Mondays, doing this on Wednesdays, and then maybe doing like making more like making music sort of side on like a day during the weekend. I don't want to say Friday, but it kind of makes sense. But I mean, what do you guys think I should do? Okay. I think we're moving in the right direction here. I don't know. What do you think, Jack? Is it better? It feels too quick. I'm conflicted. But, I mean, okay. Kook Soda, here's the thing. I'm doing this to kind of force me to work on music. So, having a schedule to do this seems like the smartest move, but, yeah, the whole purpose is that I have a lot of things that I need to work on, and I'm not necessarily trying to add to the workload by making a bunch of new music, but I certainly have like a lot of half finished songs or songs that are just like a loop that we could start working on together. Right. So, yeah, the whole purpose is for motivation and accountability. So, uh it's tricky. I don't know. I mean, it's not like I don't have time. I'm freaking unemployed. But I also have like cinematic otherworld stuff that I need to do on occasion. And I mean, we're also, spoiler alert, cinematic otherworld is working on an album. We already have I think we now have all of the songs at least started. So I've thought about like streaming those sessions, but I mean it's. I mean, y'all were here last week when Will was here. It's kind of a chaotic energy, so it'd be interesting to run a stream during that as well. We could certainly give it a shot, but Yeah, I mean, I definitely have considered making music on stream as well, but I don't want to make new music from scratch right now because I have so much backlog of projects that need to be finished right now. You feel me? Oh, definitely not that. But I mean, at the same time, you got. I mean, I'm trying to get affiliated here. You got to follow what the people want. So y'all let me know what you want to see from me, and that'll kind of inform what I'll do on the streams. I'm a man of the people, after all. Even though I hate people for the most part. Alright, well, let's experiment a bit here. Definitely not that. Honestly, we're gonna call that good for now. I'm sorry, we keep going back to it. It bugs me, you know? Oh, wow, that comes in hot, doesn't it? It's always hard with these high frequency noises because that's the part that really gets the ear fatigue first. So I tend, like, as time goes on, like, especially with like hi hats and stuff, I tend to just keep turning it further and further down, and then I come back to it like a day later, and I'm like, where's my hi hats? But that is really kind of an abrupt. Kind of happy with where things are right now, especially considering we're in mono. And like, the pads don't come in until about, yeah. Oh, that's the melody. Alright, so here's what we're gonna do. I think we're at the point where we can switch to stereo. But before we do that, you're not gonna believe me, but I have to pee again. Hashtag BRB. We're back. Hello. What do you guys think a good title for this song would be? Huh? Anybody got any ideas? And then I make it the theme music for these streams. And I'll play it every time I use a break slate. You guys ready for your minds to be blown? Oh yeah, that sweet, sweet stereo space. That's a good title. Jack gets final say, obviously. All right. So, I mean, it was switch. I almost want to keep it in mono for the first part, and then when it comes down, switch on the stereo. That's pretty dramatic, right? I don't. That's because that's what I just did, and I almost gave me goosebumps. Let's do it. Why wouldn't we? So we have a utility on our stereo bus, our audio track that's taking everything in and then piping it to the master. So this is super easy. We just automate this mono button right here. And we go to where the drop is. And we just go, it's mono until right here. Yeah, that's cool. I like that a lot. Okay. Guys, is the stream doing okay? I'm getting weird stuff with restream. Y'all still see me? Y'all still hear me? We still going strong? Is there anybody out there? So this song's chugging along quite nicely, I'd say. It's always a lovely feeling taking it out of mono and then like having the stereo thing going on because the depth, you're like, oh wow, I'm good at this actually. Okay, I don't know what happened, but welcome back, I guess, everybody. So the main thing that needs to be addressed here is these pads. Like, they're certainly here. Are these disabled? Oh, hey, let's get you back to this. Those pads are nice, but they're too hot. Alright, here's what I'm thinking. We got 3 different pads going on here, correct? Correct. These are the pads that we got going on. You really only hear the ones that we worked on when Will was here, but so I think instead of doing the sort of the auto pan effect thing that Jack was doing, we're actually going to take these 2 minor pads, minor atmospheric pads, and we're going to pan them left and right. We're going to pan one left and the other one right. Now this one's a little too hot in the right channel. But let's think about this. So you might think that, oh well, you don't really hear them, but they're doing a lot just by being there. That's some atmosphere. Let's check it in mono to make sure we didn't F anything up. Let's just, for shits and giggles, no, it's too separated. So these need some verb on them. Putting some reverb on these pan pads. Oh yeah, we want to reverb on these boys. So I like the idea kind of having these kind of bounce off of each other left to right. So what if we almost did, like, this might be a little too extreme. Headphones music. I like the bouncing back and forth, but it's too much. Let's do like 30. I think it's time to add a third, more conventional delay. So we have a return track here. And let's get just kind of your typical H delay stereo. Hydration check, people. So this is our H delay. We gotta remember that this song was written in 60 beats per minute, and we're mixing at 120, so every note value we use on our plugins is actually doubled. But I kind of want to use a ping pong delay. I think eighth note, just strict eighth notes is good. No modulation. We want to take the low end out of it. We want to turn off the analog, because all that really does in this particular plugin is create an unpleasant noise floor buzz thing. And then we're going to send both of these to that delay. And a ping pong delay takes your impulse responses and it'll bounce one in the left channel and then the next one will be in the right channel. So that's kind of like the fun stereo stuff that Jack was getting into in the beginning of this track. The tricky part is doing it so it's not too busy. What do you guys think about this back and forth painting? Is it cool? Is it weird? Is it weird in a good way? Is it awful? Should I quit the bullshit? Do I not know what I'm doing? So it's subtle, but it adds some depth there. Yeah, so I like it. I like it. Is it this pad? Well, don't mind, or like, is it freaking cool, Jack? Like, if you don't mind it, that kind of implies that you would rather not. This has a bit too much mids in it for my liking. I think I like it, but it needs to be even more subtle. We're talking like by half of what's going on right now. Oh, we gotta remember that these were already slightly panned, so this is gonna be interesting. I'm just gonna narrow it up a little bit. So for this pad, we already kind of have that swell going on with the LFO on the low pass filter, if y'all remember. So what if we added an auto pan, sort of in the style that Jack initially intended? We'll set it to be synced to the BPM of the project, and then we want to go every 2. It's pretty cool, right? It's pretty cool. But the thing is, do we want it to be that dramatic? And the answer is probably not, because let's listen what happens when we put it in mono. I mean, that's not too bad, but also, well, okay, here's the real test. We gotta listen to it in the context of everything else. I think we might be okay with it being that long, but we want to make it even longer in between the pannings. What do you guys think? Pan or no pan? Or slightly less pan? I think we like having it go all the way, honestly. Getting distracted by that bass going. I suppose that's intentional. Oh, here's an idea. So we side chained the bass to the kick drum so that the bass would kind of duck out of the way when the kick drum hit. What if we applied that to the pads too to kind of give it like a pulsing feel? So that calls for another group containing all groups. And we'll call this the pads. And let's put a compressor on there. I like to use the stock compressor for this because it's the easiest to program for sidechaining. And I mean, unless you're using a particular compressor for the character of the compressor, you might as well just go with the stock plugin, in my opinion. Pads. We want the pads. No, we don't want the audio from the pads. We want the audio from the kick to trigger this. And we can go pretty low, turn up the ratio a bit. Is that doing anything? I wonder. Oh, what is this? Oh, we gotta be careful when we're creating these groups to make sure they're going to the right tracks. We want them to always be going to our bus. So what's the other one that I grouped up? Oh, the subs. Well, that should be going within the group, and that goes in the base. So that's good. We're good. Way. Solo English should play all of these. Why aren't you doing that? Interesting. Interesting. Oh, these aren't going to the group. That's why. These need to go to the group. These were routed to go to the bus, so I guess you gotta manually route them to the group. Oh. But it's not an option? Huh? I don't understand. Oh, there we go. Dudley. So you can already kind of see how, like, this... It started off with just, what, like... 8 tracks? And now we got tracks within tracks and stuff, and things are being piped through and siphoned off in different ways. It's kind of complicated after a while. So it's pumping a little bit. We'll make it a little more subtle, I think. Did we ever switch it back from mono? We did. Just making sure we're doing all right on our master meters. Alright, that's not even coming in until later. So we definitely need this to be... It's that easy, man. Instant space. Not even hard. I mean, it already had some reverb on it and stuff from Jack. I think we want to narrow up the highs even more a little bit. I think we want to take a little bit of we want to take more lows out of these. Make them sound extremely. We want them to sound kind of thin, I think. You talking 50% less of the panning, or what, Jack? The reverb on the high thingy? It is a bit much, isn't it? I think you're right. Because we can't forget that this is actually a counter melody to this. Oh no, this is the main melody. What am I saying? Hydration check. Let's do a mono check as well. So yeah, I mean, we obviously lose a lot of the atmosphere created by our reverbs and panning stuff, but we're not having phase cancellation issues, which is the big thing. Obviously, it sounds so much more spacious and better in stereo. But we still get the essential effects of the reverbs and the delays. And if I'm gonna be honest, I don't know about y'all, but I think we're getting pretty close to done on this one. We just gotta look at this other melody part, really. Ooh, did you hear that? It's like a real discordant. What is that? You hear that? There's a little something. Oh, what the heck is going on this time? Oh, we gotta keep the... Whoa, whoa, whoa. What is that? You hear that? Why are these off? That's interesting. Oh, that was off the whole time. that has some sharpness to it. There's our problem frequency. Yo, there is something discordant happening in like a reverb or something. It's not that. Is it that? It is. It sure is. So, honestly, I mean, let's see what that does. It's also this. No, this is the second melody. Is it this? What's doing is it this? All it is a spicy chord. We'll leave it. We'll leave it. We're gonna call it intentional and leave it. I still like doing that though. It just like it resonates weirdly with the melody. That sounds fine, actually. Well, what's going on here? It's one of the pads. It's definitely not that one. Is it this one? You know, I mean, sort of to help, yeah, to help with this transition, we kind of want to just maybe get rid of all of this hangover from the pads. It'll be like another moment where like it kind of just cleans up, you know? Maybe. I think it's just that certain notes are hanging over that don't exactly mesh with whatever the chord is here. So what if we just make this abrupt? And you know what? I think also we are gonna automate some verb here. Let's see, there's no verb on this, but Jack already has it pretty wet with the reverb. Look at this automation here, and we're going to turn it down. Maybe even on this main chords part, we'll turn down the reverb a bit. Show it in a new lane. Always show it in a new lane. For recall. Ooh, ooh. What the heck? Got frequencies popping out. There's no pads after this part, right, Jack? They don't come back. I think that was correct. What is it? Is it this? Ooh, 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 ooh. Ooh. Well, something is causing feedback there, and I don't think it's the reverb. Some sort of weird resonance with the synthesizer, I guess. There's another spot. So EQ, it's basically just a complicated filter. You got a bunch of different ways to manipulate the frequency spectrum. You've got, this is more or less a parametric equalizer, and we just use these points to kind of, it works kind of off of bell curves. So you set like a Q point, and the Q is like how wide it goes. And then obviously you have your gain, which is like up, down, how loud it is. And you choose which frequency you want to set the center point at, and then you go from there. So oftentimes when there's a problem frequency like this, we just kind of sweep around until we find it, unless we can see it easily. So that's already kind of where we have that going, so let's just make this a little more dramatic. We're going to sharpen up the Q a little bit, gain it down even more. That's pretty gnarly. It's looking like it's right here too. So let's actually use this one over here and just make a really sharp Q. Actually, let's make it a little less sharp. You can still hear a hint of it, but that was a lot better. Still needs work. Is this one that we already put a multiband compressor on? Compressor? It is. So we could always make this a little more dramatic. That's better. Alright, Jack, hear me out. What if, for the last part, like this part here, it's just the kick and not the high up part? So it'd be something like this. That's still a little wild right there. Leave it or keep it. What do y'all think? Absolutely. Ouch. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's not bad. This part literally sounds like the intro of a Beach House song. I don't know Beach House that well. No, it's like the same chord progression though. Oh, there's no EQ on this? So this is good when we get to like the later. This is a good plugin for when we get to like the late stage mix, because this gives you your meters, it gives you your stereo field, and it gives you your frequency response of the whole thing. And usually the goal is to keep the stereo field within these two, like in here, because this red zone is kind of where you start to encounter phase issues. So we do have some stuff that's going to get canceled out by phase. But is it an acceptable amount? Like that thing that the bass does right there, that needs to be more. I want more of that. It's right here. Yeah, that we need more of that. Bruh, I didn't even mesh the two basses together. What am I doing? We gotta EQ these boys. What, Cat? You got something to say? You got something to say? You got something to say to the people? You got something to say to the people? Ugh. She's always so demanding after she wakes up from a nap. You got something to say? Don't eat that. No. So let's just let's boost the gain onto this just ever so slightly right here. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Hey, 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 stop that. She's not really allowed on my desk, but she likes to make the attempt when she thinks I'm not paying attention. Alright, so we're just gonna gain this up ever so slightly and then bring it back down to where it was. Let's see how that comes out in the mix. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, she's a troublemaker. She's a troublemaker. Oh, maybe even more? More? Okay. Okay. I like that. What? You got something to say? Ah. My only gripe is I wish I could make this plugin bigger. What? What? What, cat? Oh, she just farted, dude. Come on. Come on, dude. Why you gotta do that? She's farty. She's a gaseous cat. Shadow fart no jutsu. Oh, here's the other one. Alright, what do we think, everybody? I think, I'd say we're just about done. We'll give it another pass through next week just to come at it with fresh ears, and then we'll master it, and then likely move on to something else. But if anybody has any suggestions for right now of how this could be better, hit me with it. Oh, that's funny. What do you think, Jack? You got anything? Cool. I think we're at a good spot to call it a day today. Thanks for coming out, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah, we're gonna keep doing this. Gonna keep doing this every week. Oh, we should probably, let's do the whole save thing. The whole save thing. There we go. Honestly, we came far enough. We're just gonna call it Mix 2. All right. So we'll hit this one more time. We'll do a final pass through, fix things that need fixing, and then master it, and then we'll move on to something else next week. We'll see about doing another separate stream where we're working on the creation process more so. So keep an ear out for that. We are streaming to Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, but Twitch is the coolest. So if you're watching right now and you haven't given me a follow on Twitch, do it, please. Getting affiliated would be super cool, because then my unemployed ass could potentially start making monies doing this stuff. And I mean, doing this stuff is kind of the job that I want in the first place anyway. So if you guys make music and stuff and you like what I'm doing and you want me to mix it, or if you want to collab on a beat, hit me up. I'm here. I'm down to party. Alright. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week or Monday for the DJ stream. Yeah. Goodbye.